Hello there, humans, hippies, earthlings, whoever you are, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, if you're lucky enough indeed to be doing it too. I'm Bushka on Blitz. Welcome back to the channel. If this is your first time here, then congratulations, you've turned up on an auspicious day. Today we're going to answer that age-old question as you like, subscribe, and hit the little bell to remind you of when I'm about to live stream, etc., etc., etc. What's better, Dracula or Helsing? Back in the mists of time, I made the mistake of saying that the Helsing was bad because I had a weirdo run on a live stream where everything missed, and I reverse engineered the reason for that as being, oh, well, anyway, you just need to know I made a mistake, and I've been paying for it ever since. Basically, friends, family, and even people that don't like me very much love making a joke of why I am an idiot because I said the Helsing wasn't very good. I said it was good, it just wasn't OP. I was wrong. It's so OP, it stings. This is the Drac, though. And why do I want to make this video? Well, so many people carry on about these two tanks, and justifiably so. They are broken. When I was in Minsk last year, I was having dinner with one of the developers at the big buffet, the post-match function, and we were figuring out who'd done well, who was best on ground, who deserved to be promoted to A grade, and we were talking about what tank would you like to change, and he said the Dracula, the Drac. The Drac. And I was like, but what about the Helsing? He's like, no, the Drac. And it put me in mind that there really are two camps. Are you Team Dracula or are you Team Helsing? Because I've got so many mates that run around in these stupidly OP double Drac platoons. Serb, I'm looking at you, Stinky, Space Dog, all the guys. You just run these Drac platoons. They love it. They can't get enough of it. And there's a reason for that, because this tank is brutally OP. It's so fast, it's so big, it smashes, absolutely smashes tanks that are lower tier than it in ramming duels. And it's got gun depression and a nice dose of alpha. And it comes up against tanks like that AC-4 Sentinel. Good luck. Good luck running into a Drac and that thing. Look at it move. It gets across the ground like an evil bloody snake crossed with a Batmobile, and that tank's got no chance. You got 1,325 hit points when you run it with the hit point buff. It goes like, you know, it's running away faster than last week's wages. There's no way of putting it anything different. And it's every man's worst nightmare to be in a one-on-one at the end of a game where you're low hit points or something and a Drac's on the other side. Because all the Drac's going to do is go flat out at you, hit you at 60 or 70 kilometers an hour, take most of your hit points, and then finish you off with a 225 alpha dose of hatred and venom, courtesy of Wargaming. But is that better than the Helsing? Because the Helsing is just as bloody silly. The Helsing is a TD that is a TD in name only. It's got a bizarro autoloader that actually fires two shots in such quick succession that it may as well be one shot. And both of those shots have the potential to do an average alpha of 200 damage. That gives you a 400 alpha gun, which is the same kind of gun that you get on 120mm tanks like the KV-3. But it doesn't have it at KV-3 levels of gun handling. It has it at Helsing levels of gun handling, which is good gun handling with good penetration and very, very nice DPM. See, the Helsing has tier 7 TD DPM, but it also has tier 7 massive derpy tank alpha. It's kind of a conundrum. And did I mention that it has tier 7 medium and light tank terms of speed? Because the Helsing does 60 kilometers an hour on a flat stretch. And it's got one of the best upper glacises in the game. It will bounce pretty much freaking everything. So you have a tank with mad DPM, fantastic mobility, incredibly good alpha for its tier, 0.32 dispersion, solid as hell pen numbers, like TD pen numbers, 170 pen on your AP, 220 on your APCR. Tell that to a Comet or someone like that as they struggle around the battlefield. And you can see why it's actually a hard sell to tell me that the Helsing isn't more OP. I mean, it does lack some things. It doesn't have an Exocet missile launcher hanging off the side. It only has 6 degrees of gun depression. I mean, look at it. Role-playing a heavy tank here. Just after its role-played a medium, it's the first tank into spawn. and it's got better DPM than that Tiger 1. I mean, it doesn't have massive hit points, and that's a big thing against it. Like, but it's got really good armor, and its alpha strike is ridiculous. The ability to drop 400 alpha, and let me also tell you, if you can find an SP1C or someone silly enough to be in your way with HE, you can drop HE shells on them that have 300 alpha, and you can do 600 in a double shot, which is horrific. Like the HE damage that this thing puts out when it's in the zone is 4,000 damage a minute. And you can see here though, it gets to the sides and the flanks so easily. It also falls down a little in terms of traverse. Well, it falls down... Falling down is a very, very strong term for something. When you're saying falls down, you're thinking, oh, it must be terrible. It must be bad. But it's only falling down in comparison to its completely stupid things like the 60 kilometer an hour top end speed, or the the 400 alpha, or the 0.32 dispersion that you get on the Helsing's. Like, it's not really bad. It's just not broken, I guess, is what we're talking about here. Because mod traverse is 30 degrees. Its traverse in the turret isn't amazing either. So you can put it in a turn fight if you're in a medium, a light or a medium. And that's probably your best chance about it. For God's sakes, do not try and take it frontally. The angles that you can see coming in here are pretty spectacular. Our good mate KR Savash 33 is keeping those angles really tight. And anyone that wants to... I mean, this MT25, seriously, you may as well just go whistle Dixie. You have absolutely no chance. I mean, how is an MT... And here's the thing. The Helsing can come unstuck when it tries to do this versus Tier 8 competition, because there are not a lot of tanks at Tier 7 that can deal with it, but at Tier 8, that's fine. It can absolutely... Like, you've got an IS-3 Defender and you come up against a Helsing, you can clip out a Helsing with 3. So, in terms of against Tier 6s and Tier 7s, it is amazing. Phenomenal. Best ever. I think it's more powerful than the Drac. But the Drac can do the same things it does at Tier 6 and Tier 7 in terms of mobility, gun depression, and alpha that it does at Tier 8. And it can be really, really effective the next step up. So I would give the Drac that edge. So which one's better? Well, we're going to watch 2 final games and you can decide yourself. Because for me, look, I think the Helsing is better. I think the Helsing is better against most players. The Drac is better against good players because mobility is something that, and even though I'm not saying the Helsing has bad mobility, it's just the Drac has outstanding, insane mobility, and it can COD just about anything that comes onto the battlefield in front of it. It's got the same mobility that you get out of an LTTB, and the LTTB doesn't have as many hit points. It can get rammed into oblivion by a Drac, and I mean, that's a light tank. The Drac's a medium, and the Drac is a big, hefty medium. But look at this. When you're up against Tier 7 and Tier 6 tanks, this is a 60 kilometer an hour heavy tank that has the same alpha damage that a KV-1S has, but with better pen and a better gun than pretty much any other tank in the game. It's got the same kind of gun that guy that's firing at there, T25AT, in terms of gun handling and precision, but it's going 60 kilometers an hour, has heavy tank armor, heavy tank alpha. Watch the HE. I mean, it can HE pen the back of that T25AT. Hands down, against Tier 6 and Tier 7 tanks, this thing is the winner. It is probably the best heavy at Tier 7, as well as being the best everything else, apart from maybe... I mean, I'd rather drive this than any other Tier 7 heavy, like, flat out. You can go hull down, you can side scrape, you can bounce shots, you can do everything. And as you can see here, this shot Those shots from Pipelosa are not going in, but I mean, he's up against a T-29. Like, that is probably the best armored heavy overall at this tier, right around the Tiger P. Like, the turret on the T-29 is the best at the tier, and its upper glacis and stuff is way tougher than people realise. But I mean, it's got a better gun. This has a better gun than that T-25 and 2. More alpha, similar kind of DPM, but, you know, just better mobility. And the T-25 and 2's hallmark is that it's got good mobility. Like, the other thing about having a 400 alpha gun on this tank is it allows it to peekaboo. You play a KV3 or something like that and you duck out slowly, methodically, peekaboo, pull back. This guy pops out, Pipelosa pops out, peekabooms. 400 alpha. Then he doesn't move in again until he's got both shells reloaded and ready to go. And he pops out. Another 400. Takes one shot back, but he's dumped nearly 800 damage there and only taken one shell back from the T-29. He's peekabooming on 2 tanks. It's insane. When you get that kind of a situation, you can make trades that you always win. And when you're always winning the trades, you're an OP tank. And this thing is overpowered as all hell. But Team Dracula is going to get the right of final reply here. And it's going to be a game from my mate Schwalbe, or Schwalbe, or however you want to say it. You might know him. He's a very good YouTuber. You should probably go and subscribe to his channel as well. He does a great job. Look at that bounce. Look at that upper glacis. And you know what? That poor old T-29, he doesn't have the alpha that this guy has. Doesn't have the alpha. Can't deal with it. So broken. So OP. So stupid. But it's a premium tank. And Wargaming, 5,204 damage. High caliber, top gun. Dominating tier 6 and 7. Dominating tier 6 and 7. Absolutely dominating. Here we go. We're going to show Schwalbe. I don't know whether he pronounces the... I've only ever talked to him in Discord and in chat. Playing the Dracula like a boss. Really good decision right at the start here, which I really love. They've got one medium, right? And this is, again, a tier 7 and 6 game. They've got one medium, and it's not really going to stand up to a Drac on this flank. So he's 30 seconds into the game, and he's used the incredible power and pace of the Drac to get out wide and get stuck in on this flank. That KV2 has no idea where these shots are going. Absolutely no idea. He's just got a generic idea, and he's looking and hoping that it gets spotted, but he's got no mediums on this flank. Schwalbe's absolutely nailed it, gone straight to the flank, sees the KV2, and he's farming up deluxe. Unlucky not to get that one in there. The IS-2, though, has made the mistake of going down. He's 270 meters away. The coefficient of the camo on the brush is going to stop, on the foliage, is going to stop him from being spotted. There's no way any of these guys can see him, and he is just basically taking money for jam off these guys. And I really like this game because it showcases the best part of the Drac right there, the mobility. Look at it move. Look at it go. Mobility is crazy. And because he had such great pace out of the gate, because he was able to get to 70 kilometers an hour just about in the first 5 or 6 seconds of the game, he was able to farm up the first 1,000 damage he did was the easiest 1,000 damage you'll ever get in Blitz. And then he's moved to the other side of the battlefield and has screwed over this IS-2. Look at it turning, glacially turning. Here comes an AC-4 Sentinel. What chance do you reckon the Sentinel's got here? If you said Buckley's, you are 100% correct. Look at the difference between the mobility in these two tanks. The Sentinel's going to try his best, but honest to God, like, he is so hard up against it here, running against the Drac, and this is what the Drac does. It's even worse when you have 2 Dracs in platoon at the same time, because it's like 2 Velociraptors going around the battlefield at 65 kilometers an hour, ramming, slamming, focus firing, and they've got 225 alpha guns, which is a big amount of alpha for a medium to have at a tier where most of the mediums have 160 alpha on their 75 millimeters. Look at it go up this hill. It's doing 25 kilometers up this hill. That's faster than that KV2 can go flat out down a freaking mountain. I mean, The Drac's mobility is phenomenal, and it's renowned. It's the reason it gets the job done. You whack that into the blender with a whole lot of gun depression. I mean, you're looking at a tank that has 10 degrees of gun depression and a .353 dispersion, one 90mm Phantom gun. It just gets it done. It gets it done, and it moves so sweetly. For a tank this big to go that fast, now there is a price to pay. It has a weak armor profile, but you've got to catch the bloody thing first to actually take advantage of that. Watch Schwalbe go around this poor bugger. Watch it. It's just horrible. And every TD's worst nightmare is being caught in this position by a Dracula. I mean, you've got nothing. You've got absolutely nothing. Look at the size of the thing, and yet it moves like a ballerina. How does that happen? How does this get released? When it was released, I said it was really good. I had no idea when these guys were released the impact they were going to have on the game. So what are you? Team Drac? Super mobile, super heavy rammer, big dose of alpha, 10 degrees of gun depression? Or are you Team Helsing? Stupidly strong armor profile, massive alpha, 400 alpha in a 2-shot burst that takes a second to get through, half a second. Super mobility for a TD, big DPM. You tell me, boys and girls. Leave your comments below. Let me know, and just marvel at the sheer tawdry brilliance of Schwalbe absolutely wrecking the last 3 tanks in the red tilt here. I mean, this is really tough stuff. Really hard to swallow. If you've ever been on the receiving end of a Drac wolf pack, this is the feeling you get in the pit of your stomach as things are coming down to their crescendo. It's almost like the script was pre-written and you've got no way of changing it. It's like predestined, preordained. It's a fate worse than death, watching someone tear apart a slow-moving, methodically plodding heavy tank. Don't run, says the SU-122-44. Look at that power slide. Oh, the SU-122-44 is feeling the salt. I don't blame him. Everyone hates these things when they're against them, and everyone loves these things when they're on their team. Let's see as Schwalbe goes through the final motions here. You know he's going to win. You just know it. This thing's ridiculous. And it's not the penetration. It's not that the gun is going to hit every shot. It's just that mobility. That mobility and the big hit point. He's running around with 1,325 hit points. Have a look at the poor old bugger over there in the Black Prince and watch him try and keep pace here. Just, oh my God. It's, no. Somebody stop the nightmare now. Dracula or Helsing? Team A, Team B. Leave your comments below. Don't get too salty. I didn't design these tanks. I did not design them, and thank God they're hard to get. Because if everyone had one of these things, everyone would just never stop driving them. I'm Bushka on Blitz. Please like the channel. Please subscribe to the channel. Please like the videos. And stick around. If you're at Tank Fest, pop along and say good day. Until next time, stay safe on the battlefield.